Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into mastering your money during a global recession. Saving money is a necessity, demanding strategy and discipline. Make conscious decisions, scrutinize finances, and be prepared for tough calls. Shift from passive spender to active financial manager. Economic downturns bring financial challenges. Job insecurity and layoffs are real threats. Price inflation makes every dollar shrink. Investment returns may dwindle or go negative. These challenges impact daily life and stress levels. But there's opportunity in these challenges. Hit the reset button on financial priorities. Recessions force you to scrutinize spending habits. Build a stronger financial foundation. Learn invaluable lessons about budgeting and saving. We'll provide a practical guide to navigate these times. From reassessing your budget to making smart decisions about debt. No get-rich-quick schemes, just actionable strategies. Implement strategies to protect your finances and reduce stress. Grab a coffee, a notepad, and let's master your money. Alright, first things first, you have to track your spending. Nobody enjoys logging every coffee, every subscription, every purchase. But ignorance is a one-way ticket to financial trouble. Understanding your cash flow is essential. Use budgeting apps like Mint or YNAB or a simple spreadsheet. The key is consistency and honesty. Find a system you can stick with. This data empowers you to make informed changes. Tracking isn't a one-time task, it's an ongoing habit. Think of it as your financial dashboard. It keeps you aware and accountable. The long-term benefits are immense. Okay, so you've diligently tracked your spending for a few weeks, maybe a month, and now you have a clearer picture of where all that hard-earned money is disappearing to each month. The next step is to start making some cuts. Be precise and strategic in eliminating non-essential expenses. This is about taking control and deciding what stays and what goes. Focus on needs like shelter, food, healthcare, and utilities. Cut back on wants like multiple streaming services and impulse buys. Adjust your budget to prioritize needs and savings. Ensure your financial stability above all else. Alright, we've talked about tracking your spending and tightening your budget. Now, let's talk about one of the biggest wealth destroyers out there, especially during a recession, high-interest debt. If budgeting is your financial defense, then aggressively tackling high-interest debt is your most critical offensive move. This kind of debt is like financial quicksand. The harder you struggle with minimum payments, the deeper you sink. So, what are the strategies for paying off these financial vampires, particularly credit cards? There are generally two popular methods: the debt snowball and the debt avalanche. The debt snowball gives you quick psychological wins, while the debt avalanche saves you more money in interest over time. Another powerful tool is a 0% APR balance transfer credit card. But you have to read the fine print and know what the interest rate will jump to after the promotional period ends. The urgency of dealing with high-interest debt right now, in the face of a potential or ongoing recession, cannot be overstated. Every single day you carry that debt, it's actively working against you, siphoning away your financial resources. So, we're aggressively attacking the high-interest debt you currently have. That's fantastic. Avoid new consumer debt like the plague. When cash flow gets tight, the temptation to use credit cards is strong. But that mentality leads to deep financial trouble. Now, am I saying all debt is inherently evil? Not necessarily. There's a difference between consumer debt and strategic debt. For example, career training loans can be a calculated risk. But borrowing for a new car or vacation? Generally, a hard no. Ask yourself, is this debt an investment in my future income? Or is it just funding current consumption I can't afford? Here's a pro tip. Negotiate with your existing lenders. Call your credit card companies, your personal loan providers, anyone you owe money to. Try to negotiate your interest rates. Explain your financial situation clearly and calmly. Many lenders have programs for struggling customers, but they often won't offer them unless you ask. They might lower your APR, waive fees, or set up a manageable payment plan. The worst they can say is no, but if you don't ask, the answer is always no. This proactive stance is crucial. Don't wait until you're missing payments. Be upfront, polite, and persistent. Document who you speak to, when, and what was said. Sometimes the first person you talk to might not be able to help, but asking to speak to a supervisor can yield better results. Lenders would rather work with you than risk default. This conversation can save you money and reduce stress. It's invaluable during a global recession. Housing costs are often your biggest expense. Negotiating rent or mortgage can save you money. Research rental prices and make a case for a reduction. Refinancing your mortgage can also save you money. Consider getting a roommate or downsizing. Moving to a lower cost of living area or in with family can also help. Next up, let's talk about utilities. Those bills for electricity, gas, water, and internet that creep up on you every month. Little changes in your daily habits can add up to significant savings over time. Switch to LED bulbs, take shorter showers, and unplug unused devices. These small adjustments will reflect positively on your utility bills. Let's dive into groceries, a major expense for most households. With planning and strategy, you can save significantly. Meal planning is key. Make a plan before shopping. Stick to your list to avoid impulse buys. Plan meals to reduce waste. Meal prepping saves time and money. Buy in bulk strategically. Compare unit prices. Avoid budget crunches by planning. Okay, so you've got your meal plan, you've made your list, and you're being smart about bulk buying. What else can you do to slash that grocery bill? Switch to generic or store brands. They're often made in the same factory as name brands. You're paying extra for packaging and marketing. Try generics for staples like canned vegetables, pasta, and cleaning supplies. The savings can be substantial, often 20 to 50% per item. Imagine saving that much on a significant portion of your grocery bill every single week. That money adds up fast and can be redirected to your emergency fund or debt repayment. Be a smart, discerning consumer, not just a passive one. Your bank account will thank you for it. You need an emergency fund. It's not just a nice to have, it's essential. Think of it as your financial firefighter for crises like job loss or medical emergencies. Aim for 3 to 6 months of essential expenses. This fund is your lifeline, allowing you to maintain stability when everything else feels unstable. It's the difference between weathering the storm and being capsized by it. Make building this fund a top priority. Saving 3 to 6 months of expenses can seem overwhelming, but start small. Even $10 or $20 a week adds up. Automate your savings to build the habit. Keep your emergency fund liquid and safe. Use a high-yield savings account or money market account. Keep it separate from your regular checking account. All right, so we've hammered down on cutting expenses, which is absolutely crucial. No doubt about it. But let's be real. There's only so much you can cut before you're living on ramen and hope. The other, often more powerful side of the financial equation is increasing your income. Leverage the skills and talents you already possess. Think about it. What are you good at? What do people ask your advice on? That's your starting point, right there. The gig economy is massive, and there's a platform for almost everything. Websites like Upwork, Fiverr, and Freelancer.com are gold mines for finding these opportunities. You can set your own rates, choose your projects, and often work remotely. Don't underestimate the value of what you know. Someone out there needs exactly what you can offer. Beyond leveraging your core skills, sometimes you just need to bring in extra cash through more straightforward part-time gigs, and there's absolutely no shame in that. Recessions often mean that primary income sources can become less stable, so diversifying with a side hustle is just smart. Think about opportunities that offer flexibility and don't require a massive new skill set to get started. These could be remote jobs you can do from home, or local gigs that fit around your existing schedule. The goal here is to add another income stream, however small, to bolster your financial defenses. Every little bit helps to build that buffer against uncertainty. Consider the explosion in delivery services: food, groceries, packages. While it might not be glamorous, it's often flexible work you can pick up when you have spare time. Virtual assistant roles are also increasingly popular, helping busy professionals or small businesses with administrative tasks, scheduling, or customer service, often on a remote basis. If you have a knack for writing or editing, content creation for websites, blogs, or social media is another avenue. The key is to look for roles that are in demand and align with your availability and basic competencies. Don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone slightly if the pay and flexibility make sense for your situation. Now here's a classic, and it's a double win: selling your unused items. Seriously, take a look around your home. How much stuff do you own that you haven't touched in months or even years? Clothes, electronics, furniture, collectibles, it's all potential cash just sitting there, gathering dust. Platforms like Facebook, Marketplace, eBay, Poshmark, or even local consignment shops make it easier than ever to turn that clutter into currency. Not only does this put money directly into your pocket, but it also declutters your living space, which can have a surprisingly positive psychological impact, especially when things feel a bit chaotic financially. It's like finding money you didn't know you had. When you're selling your items, be strategic. Take good, clear photos. Write honest and detailed descriptions. Research comparable prices to ensure you're competitive, but not underselling yourself. Be prepared to negotiate a little, especially on platforms like Facebook Marketplace. And always prioritize safety when meeting buyers. Opt for public, well-lit places. And consider bringing a friend if possible. It might take a little effort to list and sell everything, but the cumulative effect of offloading a dozen or more items can add a significant and welcome boost to your emergency fund or debt repayment efforts.
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle.
When most people hear investing, their minds immediately jump to stocks, bonds, or real estate. And yes, those are incredibly important for long-term wealth building. But during a recession, when job security can feel shaky and the market is volatile, one of the smartest investments you can possibly make is in yourself, specifically in your skills. Think of it as investing in your human capital. Unlike market investments that can go up and down, the skills and knowledge you acquire become a permanent part of you, making you more valuable, more adaptable, and ultimately more resilient in a challenging economic landscape. This is about future-proofing your earning potential. The fantastic news is that upskilling has never been more accessible or affordable. We're living in a golden age of online learning. Platforms like Coursera, edX, Skillshare, and LinkedIn Learning offer thousands of courses, often taught by experts from top universities or industry leaders at a fraction of the cost of traditional education. Many even offer free courses or financial aid. You can learn a new coding language, master digital marketing techniques, get certified in project management, or dive deep into data analysis, all from the comfort of your own home and often at your own pace. This democratization of education is a game changer for personal and professional development. Investing in new skills isn't just about landing a better job or a promotion, though those are certainly major benefits. It's also about boosting your confidence and expanding your horizons. Learning something new challenges your brain, fosters adaptability, and can open you up to entirely new ways of thinking or even new career paths you hadn't considered before. In a recession, when opportunities might seem scarce, having a broader skill set can make you a more attractive candidate and give you more options. It's about creating your own opportunities rather than just waiting for them to appear, which is a powerful mindset shift. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Graham, I'm already so busy. How am I supposed to find time to learn something new? And I get it, life is hectic. But even dedicating a few hours a week, maybe an hour each evening or a longer session on the weekend, can make a significant difference over time. Consistency is key. Think of it like building your emergency fund. Small, regular contributions add up. Break down your learning goals into manageable chunks. The goal isn't to become an expert overnight, but to steadily build valuable competencies that will pay dividends for years to come. Alright, so if you're going to invest your precious time and maybe a little money into upskilling, it makes sense to focus on areas that are likely to remain in demand, even when the economy takes a hit. We're talking about recession-proof, or at least recession-resistant skills. These are competencies tied to industries or roles that businesses and society continue to need, regardless of economic cycles. Identifying these areas can give you a strategic advantage in the job market and provide a greater sense of security. It's about being smart and intentional with your learning efforts, focusing on what's most likely to yield a return. One major area that consistently shows resilience is the information technology, or IT sector. Think about it. Businesses still need their websites to run, their data to be secure, and their systems to function efficiently, recession or not. Skills in software development, cybersecurity, cloud computing, and IT support are highly sought after. Many of these roles can also be done remotely, offering flexibility. If you have any inclination towards tech, exploring courses in these areas could be an incredibly smart move. The demand for skilled IT professionals often outstrips supply, which is a good position to be in during uncertain times. Another evergreen sector is healthcare. People get sick, need care, and require medical services regardless of what the stock market is doing. While becoming a doctor or nurse requires extensive schooling, there are many other vital roles within healthcare that require less intensive training, but are still in high demand. Think about medical coding and billing, healthcare administration, pharmacy technician roles, or even specialized caregiving. These fields often offer stable employment and the satisfaction of doing meaningful work. Investing in skills related to the healthcare industry can provide a solid foundation for your career. Finally, let's talk about skills that help businesses adapt, survive, and even thrive during tough times. Data analysis is huge right now. Companies need people who can interpret data to make smarter decisions, identify cost savings, and understand customer behavior. Digital marketing is another critical area. As businesses tighten their belts, they need to make sure their marketing spend is effective, and online channels are often the most measurable and cost-efficient. Skills in SEO, content marketing, social media management, and pay-per-click advertising are incredibly valuable. These roles often lend themselves well to freelance or remote work too, adding another layer of flexibility. Okay, this is a big one, and it's where a lot of people, unfortunately, make some pretty costly mistakes during a recession. When the market gets turbulent, it's natural to panic. But panic selling is often the worst thing you can do. The golden rule is time in the market, not timing the market. Historically, markets recover and reach new highs. Stay the course and focus on your long-term plan. Now, while the general advice is to avoid panic selling, there might be extremely rare circumstances where you genuinely, urgently need access to funds that are tied up in investments, and you have absolutely no other choice. Perhaps you've exhausted your emergency fund due to an unforeseen major expense, and selling some investments is the only way to cover a critical need. This is not an ideal situation by any stretch, and it should be a last resort. But life happens. If you find yourself in this position, try to be as strategic as possible about what you sell, perhaps focusing on assets that have performed relatively better, or those with the least long-term growth potential if you must liquidate. However, before you even consider touching your long-term investments, exhaust every other possible avenue. Have you truly maximized your emergency fund? We talked about aiming for 3 to 6 months of essential expenses. Have you cut your budget to the absolute bone? Are there any other income-boosting strategies you haven't tried yet? Selling investments during a downturn should be at the very, very bottom of your list of options, precisely because you're likely selling at a loss and potentially jeopardizing your future financial security. The pain of cutting expenses further or hustling for extra income now is usually far less damaging than liquidating assets at an inopportune time. This brings me to an incredibly important point. If you're feeling uncertain about your investments, especially during a recession, or if you're contemplating making major financial decisions, please talk to a qualified, fee-only financial advisor. I'm not talking about your cousin who dabbles in stocks or some random person on an internet forum. I mean a certified professional whose fiduciary duty is to act in your best interest. They can provide an objective perspective, help you understand the implications of your decisions, and ensure your strategy aligns with your long-term goals and risk tolerance. This is not the time for DIY financial surgery. A good financial advisor won't just tell you what to do, they'll help you understand. They can review your entire financial picture, your income, expenses, debts, assets, and goals, and help you navigate the complexities of the market. They can act as a crucial sounding board, helping you avoid emotional decisions and stick to a disciplined approach. The cost of good financial advice can be far, far less than the cost of a major investment mistake made out of panic or lack of knowledge. Think of it as an investment in your peace of mind and your financial future, especially when the economic seas get rough. Let's talk about something that can sneak up on your budget, especially when times are tight: gifts and holidays. Societal pressure to spend big can derail your financial stability. Shift your perspective. It's about being smart and prioritizing long-term financial health. Embrace handmade and personalized gifts. It's about the thought, effort, and personal touch. Plus, the cost savings can be massive. Experience-based gifts are often more memorable. It's about shared moments, not the price tag. Set expectations early and be open with friends and family. Make conscious choices that align with your financial goals. Celebrations can be costly, but potlucks are a game changer. Everyone contributes a dish, slashing costs and fostering community. Budget-friendly ideas like game nights or movie marathons also keep costs low. Be honest about financial boundaries. Most will understand and appreciate your honesty. Genuine connections are built on shared experiences, not spending. All right, let's dive into a mindset shift that can be incredibly powerful, not just during a recession, but for your entire financial life. Adopting a minimalist mindset. Minimalism isn't about deprivation. It's about conscious decision-making and aligning your spending with what truly adds value to your life. Ask yourself before every non-essential purchase, do I need this? This simple question can filter out unnecessary spending and help you save more. Ultimately, it's about creating more financial freedom, mental clarity, and less stress. A powerful ally in cultivating a minimalist mindset, and by extension a healthier financial life, is the practice of gratitude. When you actively appreciate what you already have, your health, your relationships, the roof over your head, the skills you possess, the constant desire for more material possessions often begins to fade. This isn't some airy-fairy concept, it's a practical psychological shift. Contentment with your current situation reduces the perceived need to fill a void with purchases. Keeping a gratitude journal or simply taking a few moments each day to reflect on what you're thankful for can significantly curb impulsive spending habits driven by a feeling of lack or comparison. This naturally leads to practicing more conscious consumption. This means moving beyond just asking, "Do I need this?" to also considering where things come from, how they're made, and their true life cycle cost, not just the upfront price. It involves doing a bit more research before buying, choosing quality over quantity, and opting for items that are durable and will serve you well for a long time. Conscious consumption also means being aware of marketing tactics designed to make you buy more and learning to differentiate between genuine needs and cleverly manufactured wants. This thoughtful approach to acquiring goods drastically reduces waste and saves you a significant amount of money in the long run. One of the most underrated benefits of adopting a more minimalist approach is the mental clarity that comes from having less clutter, both physically and financially. When your living space isn't overflowing with things you don't use or need, it creates a more peaceful and focused environment. Similarly, when your finances aren't cluttered with dozens of small recurring expenses for things that don't add value, or the mental burden of managing too many possessions, you gain clarity. This mental space allows you to make better, more rational financial decisions, as you're not constantly distracted or overwhelmed by the noise of excessive consumerism. The long-term benefits of embracing a minimalist mindset extend far beyond just surviving a recession. They lay the foundation for sustained financial health and personal well-being. You learn to derive joy from experiences rather than possessions. You become more resilient to advertising and societal pressures to consume. And you build a stronger financial buffer because you're naturally spending less on non-essentials. This isn't a temporary fix. It's a sustainable lifestyle shift that empowers you to live more intentionally, save more effectively, and ultimately achieve your financial goals with greater ease and less stress, creating a more secure and fulfilling life. All right, let's be completely real here. Navigating a global recession is tough. There's no sugarcoating the fact that these periods bring uncertainty, anxiety, and real financial challenges for a lot of people. And you might be feeling that pressure right now. It can feel overwhelming when you see concerning headlines, or maybe your own income has been affected, or you're just worried about what the future holds. These feelings are valid, and it's important to acknowledge that. The strategies we've talked about in this series are designed to give you a sense of control and a clear path forward, but the journey itself requires patience and perseverance. It's also crucial to remember that, historically speaking, recessions are temporary. Economies are cyclical. They have ups and downs. While it might not feel like it when you're in the thick of it, these downturns do eventually end, and periods of recovery and growth follow. The key is not to make panicked, short-sighted decisions based on fear, like selling off all your long-term investments at a loss, but rather to stay disciplined, adapt your financial habits as we've discussed, and focus on what you control. This perspective helps in weathering the storm without derailing your long-term financial plans completely. More than anything, challenging times like these often serve as powerful reminders of what truly matters most in life. When a recession forces us to tighten our belts and reevaluate our spending, we often rediscover the value of things that don't have a price tag. Our health, our relationships with family and friends, our skills, our creativity, and our resilience. It strips away the superficial and brings into sharp focus the foundational elements of a fulfilling life. This period can be a catalyst for reassessing your priorities and realizing that true wealth isn't just about the numbers in your bank account, but also about your well-being and connections. So as we wrap this up, remember that while recessions are undeniably hard, they also present an opportunity to learn, to adapt, and to build stronger financial foundations. With intention, by applying these practical strategies consistently, and by cultivating resilience in the face of adversity, you absolutely can navigate these choppy waters. More than just surviving, you can emerge from this period financially stronger, more knowledgeable, and more grounded in what truly brings value to your life. Thank you so much for watching. Smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm, and I'll see you in the next video.